We're in Ocean Corporation, Houston, Texas. This is a very rare opportunity not a lot of people get. You know, I'm from Canada, Clay's from Australia. We got James from the United States here. So it's actually an honor to be here. It's awesome.
And it's competition again this time. Jimmy and me, Trav and Abe. Who's going to win?
We're going to be the underwater beat hands from the promised lands. 3G downhill.
Hey there guys, it's just Travis here. Right now that's myself there putting on the Desco pot and just making sure everything's fit, everything's good. There is the one personnel from the Ocean Corporation. He is checking transmission for the radio, making sure everything, good communication, everything. There's a kill switch, or the knife switch. If you want the welding current on, you just yell hot, the welding current goes on, the knife goes down. If you want to break the arc, everything's good. The electrode you stopped welding, you stay cold. Then you lift the switch up. Now there's no current going through. And there's the little diver man on the Desco Corporation, the radio there. And that you can hear the voiceover.
Welcome back, World 2 family. We're back at underwater welding. This time I was with Travis, James, Clay, and myself. We were having a competition here. It was me and Travis against James and Clay. Richard is helping me put the helmet on. Along right now, he's attaching my welding lens to my helmet. I believe I was wearing a shade 10. It was a shade 10.
There's Abraham putting on the Desco pot. And the way it works is, think of it this way. You have a glass. You submerge the glass vertically into a sink full of water. There's air inside the glass, so the glass does not fill fully all the way with water.
Hey guys, we got Abe and Travis down there. They're going to share 40 minutes time each, so 20 minutes each. They're just doing some practice runs on a T-joint, and then they're going to get into the 3G bevel plate, the comp plate. Yeah, we're only in 8 foot of water, so we don't need the bailout for the safety precautions because we've got rescue divers here. Enough people we get in any trouble. So yeah, we're all safe. We're all ready for this competition. Cheers.
There's myself under the water. I was having a little bit of trouble getting these electrodes started. They do have a coating on the tip of the electrode, which Clay will be showing you in a second here. But sometimes the tip of the electrode is not exposed to bare metal, and it can be a little bit tricky to try and break that and get the arc going. And here's a nice little arc shot. You have a lot of water actually running in front of your weld puddle, so it can be a little bit difficult to distinguish your weld puddle.
Just taking the rubber coated end or wax coated end off the top of the rods so we can start them. Oxylance 6013. This is a demo stinger that they have at the Ocean Corporation. It's just got a bit of a shorter lead on it. It's all fully insulated with the nylon screws. Same principle as what we're using down there, just a screw type stinger. Pretty simple, exact same as what you'd use above ground, just a bit more insulation, I guess. Just counterclockwise loosen, clockwise tighten up, just go to it. Once you break arc, that wax coating will form around the end again, so just give it a bit of a scrape and just restart like normal.
We're just here at the bottom here. This is sped up slightly just to show a little bit of welding, a little bit of cleaning, you know. With these 6013 electrodes, we'll just weld for a little bit, we'll clean it up. It's a nice little pass. I know there's a lot of slag on these particular electrodes. Just gonna bash that off with the old chip and hammer. Here's a nice arc shot. And it's actually pretty interesting because when you watch the weld puddle you do have, like I was saying a little bit earlier, is that you do have the water right in front of you, so it's a little bit tricky to distinguish that weld puddle. So you got to kind of look beyond and past at an orange glow that's just hidden underneath the water, and that's kind of how you gauge kind of where you're doing.
All right, so right here I'm welding. Travis just finished welding. He handed me and he passed me the torch. We're doing a 3G plate. Welding downhill. Welding downhill was the most efficient way, I believe, to weld. And made the welds look a lot better rather than going uphill. So we chose to weld downhill. Right here I'm just stacking my beads from left to right. Right here I was having problems with my hood. The strap that you see right under my chin was a little bit too tight, so it kept moving my hood too down, and it was not allowing me to see that well. But I managed to weld this up. So each of us had 20 minutes to weld. The reason why is because we didn't want to make this a long video, and we had to time ourselves. I believe last time I was here welding, I was welding for about an hour, and I didn't notice. And I thought it was 15 minutes, but in reality, I had been down there welding for like an hour and 30 minutes. So the very first time I went down under the water to weld, I was down there for about an hour to 2 hours. I was about there 2 hours, and this time we decided to time ourselves, give each welder 15 minutes, 20 minutes, so we wouldn't go overboard.
Right now we're just welding downhill, 60-13 downhill. We kind of agreed upon it that, you know, these electrodes, they kind of run kind of nice. This is us trying to get a selfie down there. Last 2 minutes of the video with Abraham and myself. This is myself coming out of the water here. You know, it's a little bit tricky to kind of figure out where you're walking because the helmet is so big and you kind of don't get to see around you really. You have a very small window of vision, and it feels like you have like all this weight on you, but you do have like a weight pack on you, kind of holding you down. Kind of, as you can see, if you look on Abraham here, he has those weights around his waist there. They kind of help hold us down because we're kind of floating and everything. And we have a lot of, like, this is so much fun. This underwater welding is fun. It's something that you know, every welder at least once or twice or a couple times in their career, they should get the opportunity to experience it because it's something that's really cool and a lot of fun. So this is James and Clay now entering the water. Abraham and myself were the first guys.
Under the water, land 15.
Alright, so me and Travis just got done welding underwater. What do you think?
I don't know. Oh, it was awesome because we went down with my Samsung here, and you know, you know, I was welding first, so Abraham's over there, he's going like this, you know, trying to get quality arc shots and everything, but it's a little bit tricky to weld, you know, you got water in front of your lenses, you know, but like, yeah, so like then we switched up and then, you know, had most of Abraham going good, and then at the last 2 minutes I switched around and try and get like a, you know, kick-ass selfie, but you know,
How'd you think you did on your welding?
Oh, it's pretty interesting.
So here we go. This is James. This is a video of me just jumping in. This was my first time. It's a little bit different, man. You got to keep more of a contact with your rod, but if you push too much, you'll start gouging. But this is a real slow rod. I think it was a 60-13, if I'm correct. And just running through, doing a bevel plate. Clay's getting some nice arc shots. It's really hard to see when you're underwater. There's so much bubbles. It's confusing at what you're looking at if you're not used to it. it's a bit different. You got to move real slow with the downhill underwater. Move too fast, you won't get that slag off. I'm gonna strike up again and just get right back in there. Like I said, I wasn't expecting all the bubbles. I didn't know what I was expecting when I got in there, but hard to see your puddle because there's so much air blasting off of that puddle that kind of blocks a bit of your vision. Here I am finishing up the route pass. Man, it's hard to get that. It's hard to get that slag off underwater. I think there on that route pass, I was moving a bit fast, so it was just real difficult to get that off. You can only burn that rod so far. Can't really drag it out too much. Having to re-tack up that plate, kind of knocked it off, didn't tack it too well the first time. Coming in on the second fill pass. Like I said, it's more of a drag. When you're running 70-18, you're about an 1/8 inch. You're kind of floating off of the plate just a little bit. When you're doing your underwater, you have to keep that contact so the arc will stay established. So it's a little bit different. Then if you push too much, you're just going to start gouging out that plate. Now this is a great arc shot. It's exactly what I was seeing out of my weld lens. Here we got Travis and Abraham's weld. a bit rushed on time. I think we all would have done a bit better if we had some more time, but trying to fit all 4 of us in there, and we were all trying to fit our turns in. We had about 20 minutes each for each person. They had another class they had to get done.
And I think the one thing is that I think it does get hardness problems, or it could, because the weld puddle chills out so quickly. There's all the water there. Nice air pockets and the bubbles and everything. He's just chipping away at the moment. The only thing we forgot was a rod bucket. We forgot to bring a rod bucket down, but it was pretty good. And they have the GoPro at the top there, and nice welding lens. So you can kind of see that it's a little bit difficult to see, but you have a lot of water there, and it just kind of runs in front of the puddle, and it kind of, and it's a little bit difficult to try and see that puddle definitely. But if you look at the puddle itself, you can see that orange glow, and you can kind of see like an outline of the weld puddle itself, so you kind of have an idea of what you're doing, like just kind of, sort of. I know when I was doing it, I was trying to figure out, okay, should I do like movements? Should I do any kind of manipulation? Should I just drag it? You know, trying different things. And I believe when I watched Clay, his arc shot later on, because I think the GoPro ran out of batteries, and then I think James just came up and grabbed my phone. It's like, he grabbed my phone and then went back down, and so I was watching like arc shots on my phone here, and it came out really nice because you could watch like Clay weld, and it was like no movements. It was just like pipelining, you know, just the downhand, really nice movements, and just like the really nice puddle. Everything was like really, really nice. And I know at the end, I think Clay was almost done, and then they're like, "Oh, time's up." So they kind of stopped him, and he was like, "No, I was almost done." But he was almost done, and they definitely beat us. I know when I was doing the root, when I was first welding, I was doing 2.5 rods. You know, I was trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to run these rods, or what I'm going to do with these electrodes, because this is actually the second time I ran these electrodes, because I know we did underwater welding on the Saturday, and then underwater welding on, I believe, the Wednesday or Thursday it was. And second time using these rods. First time welding downhill with the 6013s, trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do here? And so I would consume about 2.5 rods, and then but that extra half rod would kind of kill me on the you know, getting more deposition. And in hindsight, what I should have done is just kind of fill up maybe 80% of the plate, just do 2 rods, and then just like fill 80% of the plate and call it good. And we definitely would have capped out more. So there's the rods being passed off, and there's James.
That was awesome. That's awesome.
Right now we're just kind of picking apart the plate. we're like, oh, I think we won there, Abraham. No, it's definitely the clear winners for sure were James and Clay.
Well, some like fraction of a percent lighter because the water is denser than air, but not compared to steel. Yeah, it's not buoyancy, it's lighter.
We're gonna go a step above and take it back to our lab, set it up, and do the microwave on it.
We went back to South Coast Welding Academy to do the acid etch. Let's see here. This is actually really interesting because it's going to show our... Ooh, look at that. It is showing our... well, the penetration, but it's showing the, you know, the weld itself. And that's pretty cool. We're just zooming in on there, and you can see a couple defects.
All right, guys, so we just finished our competition. Sadly, me and Travis lost, and they were the best ones. Their plate was pretty cool. Yeah. Looked up the bar, looked really good. I ran out of rods towards the end. I was just using little bitty rods, so that's what I'm going to blame it on. Always have an excuse, man.
My welding machine broke. We should have used the SA200
I
part.
said, like,
My starts were cold.
I water on my lens. I got the last one.
man, there you have it, guys. If you like the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.